Hello, welcome. Today we're going to go over Dr. SarDeSai's book, Southeast Asia, Past and Present. My name is Professor Bon, and I will guide you through chapter 3 and 4. Leave this big screen. Chapter 3, Early Kingdoms of Sumatra and Java. Chapter 4, The Rise of the New States. I'm Professor Bon, here to guide you on these two chapters. Learning objectives: to learn about the early kingdoms of Sumatra and Java, to learn about the rise of new states, and to learn about the religious influences. Early kingdoms of Sumatra. Now we have insular Southeast Asia is far more exposed to what? Now take a look at this map. Now if you were a pirate, would you want to go all the way into Thailand to kind of invade, or would you kind of invade these like thousands of islands of Philippines or Indonesia or East Timor? Which one would you do though? This part, if you're an island by itself, you're considered an insular region, which means you're kind of out there in the ocean, right? Versus mainland, which is more internal, connect to the land, right? Yes, you're right. I also would probably, if I was a pirate, I would invade all these insular regions. And in fact, that's what happened. So these places are extremely diverse genetically and with lots of not just biological people, but just ideas, trade, and lots of different interesting things that are exchanged. Because the pirates would come and invade, but then they would leave things like in southern Philippines and Mindanao, a huge Muslim community, right? And then you have other groups such as when the Spanish invaded Philippines, they left Catholicism. So again, if you're an insular region, good or bad, you got a lot of influence, okay? So the historical sources of Southeast Asia are found in Sanskrit, Old Malay, Old Javanese, and indigenous accounts. But a lot of the information on Southeast Asia history and people are found in our two big influences, guys. What is our two influences again? I'll give you a second. You are right. China, India has lots of historical accounts of these areas. And so that's where we get a lot of information here. Now let's take a look at this insular versus the mainland, Southeast Asia. Now look how these places are so open. Like here you see Mindanao and you see Borneo and you see Timor, Bali, Java. You see like it's just out there. It's very easy to get in and out, okay? And just if you're a boat, you could easily, or if you're in another country, you could easily get in and out. And actually these places were quite actually invaded and settled by lots of people around the area. Now you look at the insular, mainland country, mainland country, you have Thailand. You gotta really get in there to get into Thailand. Go into Burma to get in there to invade, right? So again, those are considered mainland countries. And I want you to think like, if you're going to invade, who are going to invade? Of course, you're going to invade down here, thousands of Malaysian islands, instead of like going into Thailand. And again, if you look at Thailand, Thailand's one of the only Southeast Asian countries that never got invaded. Once again, Thailand never got invaded as a country by colonial forces. So that's amazing. Probably had some geographic luck as well. All right, so we have the kingdom of Javaya. And so we're talking about a beautiful Indonesia, and you see this architecture that is just amazing. Indonesia, historical sources from India and China, oldest kingdom, excellent port for trade. 100 years later, Java develops a competitor, Salindras. Salindras raided Tonkin and Champa, that's present-day Cambodia, defeating Chenlas and captured and beheaded the king of water of Chenlas, okay? So again, you see that the Southeast Asian history was not this like peaceful history. Actually, a lot of people had a lot of disputes within the region. Now let's take a look at this beautiful Indonesian architecture. And I hope you get a chance one day to get to Indonesia. It's probably like on a bad day, it's probably like $1,200 ticket. On a good day, you can get tickets for $400, $500 in Indonesia. Once you get there, it's so cheap to travel around. It's like $1 a meal, okay, for noodles. So just get there. Don't think about it. put on your credit card, and go. All right, so looking at this beautiful architecture, does this remind you of Japan or China or Korea? No, not at all. This reminds you of India, right? So you see how India has so vastly influenced Indonesia, and it's just definitely in its beautiful architecture. So other ways India has also influenced Southeast Asia is, in particular, it's not just language and people which moved in, but also its religions. So we'll talk more deeply about this, but Hinduism is also given to Southeast Asia by India, as well as Buddhism. Let's talk a little bit about Buddhism. Right? Buddhism is a world religion. It's one of the oldest religions on earth. It's actually one of the most followed religions on earth. But let's actually talk about Buddhism, and let's talk about their basic beliefs. One of the basic beliefs of Buddhism is rebirth, okay, or reincarnation. It's a result of your attachments or karma. If you are a good person, it will come back to your next life. If you are a bad person, you'll be coming back as a dog, a cow. You will not be coming back as a human, okay? Nirvana is a peaceful detachment of mind. Achieving nirvana means escape from the cycle of rebirth. So you're gonna have to go through this reincarnation over and over and over again until you can learn and get nirvana. Buddhism is not a Buddhist God. He's just a revered teacher. There's 4 noble truths. The first was that life is suffering. The second is that suffering is caused by craving and aversion. The third is that suffering can be overcome and true happiness attained. The fourth is that the Noble Eightfold leads the end of all suffering. This is a very important concept. Let's actually get deeper into the Noble Eightfold. Especially if you've seen the Wong Kar-wai movie, Chungking Express, or Kung Fu Hustle, kind of talks about the Noble Eightfold, right? Secretly, you can see it's like in there, right? Let's talk about the Noble Eightfold path. 1, right speech. One speaks in a non-hurtful, not exaggerated, and only in a truthful manner. Be truthful, don't tell lies. 2, right actions. Avoiding action that would do harm. Do unto others what you think you want to be done to you. 3, right livelihood. One's job or career does not hurt anyone directly or indirectly. Don't have a job that kills people or hurts other people. Have a decent job. Right effort and exercise. Always make an effort to learn to improve yourself. Always make an effort. Always try, no matter what. Whatever your ability, try again. And then try again. Now you see that this is a very different concept than other countries, such as they might believe, oh, you're not good at math, stop it. You're not good, you're naturally not good. No, if you have this sentimentality that you should always try no matter where you are and keep trying again and again, that's gonna affect how you do in schoolwork sometimes. Right mindfulness and awareness. Your mental ability to see things for what they are with clear consciousness. Be aware of your thinking patterns. Meditate. Be aware of how your emotions affect your thinking patterns. Right consciousness. Be aware of the present reality with oneself. This is a very crucial eightfold path. You should know yourself. What makes you happy? What makes you sad? What makes you agitated? What makes you ecstatic? You should know yourself. And that is, again, a noble to understand yourself. Right thoughts. Change in the pattern of thinking. So you should think in a correct manner and not in negativity, because you have to, that will be projected to other people. think positively, think rightly in your pattern thoughts, and also be aware of your pattern, your thoughts. Right understanding. Understanding reality as it is and not just what appears to be. Sometimes we think reality is something that, that we perceive alone. There is sometimes a reality outside of you that might be the true reality. So be aware of your reality might not be true. Again, the Noble Eightfold Path, very honorable to ascribe to these things. All right, let's talk about Hinduism. Now, Hinduism is the oldest religion in the world. It is the third most popular religion in the world. And all over the planet, you will find Hindus. Every country in the world, very popular religion. Now, it believes in reincarnation, which is, you are right. It is similar to Buddhism in that if you do well and if you are a righteous person and you are good to others, you'll be reincarnated into a better position. But conversely, if you're a bad person and you put out negativity and you hurt other people, you will be reincarnated in something worse, like a dog. Something that Hindus believe in is that all life is sacred. Now you'll find, because of this belief, many Hindus, not all, but many Hindus are vegetarian. They also believe in this concept called karma. What pretty much what you do comes back to you, okay? If you ever heard that saying, what goes around, you finish it? All right, well, that's karma. Not one prophet, there's lots of deities, and there's not one God. Let's talk about important Hindu deities. We have Krishna, we have Ganesha, we have Vishnu, we have Rama, we have Shiva. These are very common deities, but actually there's a couple hundred deities. So you can find one that you need that can help you for your special needs. Again, Hinduism is very important and also globally very popular religion. Oldest religion in the world. Something about Hinduism is also, it is part of a Brahmin, it is part of a caste system, right? Politically not correct and right now, but it is still well known and still well used. Caste system, and I'll go over it quickly, divides all Hindus into different castes. For instance, I'll just go over the first one, is Brahmins. Brahmins are the priest class, they're academics, right? And Brahmins can only marry Brahmins, right? And they can look down on the other different caste systems. They're not allowed actually to marry other caste systems. Throughout many attempts from India to abolish the caste system has not been successful. Once again, not successful. So as we are hearing this, unfortunately, there's lots of discrimination towards different types of groups in India, and particularly the Dalits. The Dalits, previously called the Untouchables, which is a terrible term, they did all the lower work and they're subordinate to all. And this group was very much a recipient of multiple aggressions and also molestations from the other groups and lots of social injustice, right? So again, if you don't think that's true, please ask your Hindu friend to your right and left and ask them, do they still perform the caste system? And I guarantee you, even though illegal in India, it is well still used. Let's talk about Hinduism's 10 sacred tenets. And you might see some overlap with your own religion that you practice at home or no religion. Number 1, nonviolence. You should not be violent. You should be peaceful. 2, truthfulness. You should always tell the truth. No stealing. You should be celibate and clean. You should not be greedy, and you should have a purity of thought. You should only think pure thoughts. You should be content, and you should be austere or aesthetic, which means you don't want to desire too many things. You should study the scriptures and dedicate yourself to God. Again, wonderful traditions of Hinduism. So if you have any Hindu friends, I highly suggest that you ask them about their religion because it's the oldest religion in the world, and 5,000 years, I think you're gonna learn a lot. let's talk about Islam. Again, Islam is actually another world religion. A lot of people all over the world believe in Islam. And here are some of what Muslims believe in. Supremacy of Allah, who is all-knowing, kind, peaceful, and powerful. Big difference in modern and radical Muslims. Just like we don't blame the majority of Christians on these radical Christians who do mass killings, we don't say all Christians are like that, right? So we definitely should not say that all Muslims are, a certain way, because actually the religion is based on peace and being kind. Let's talk about the 5 pillars of Islam. These are the duties of Islam, the religion of Muslims. Faith. To believe in no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his prophet and the messenger of Allah. Prayer. You must pray 5 times a day. Before sunrise, early afternoon, late afternoon, after sunset, and at night. Fasting. This is very important. You give up food and drink during the daylight hours in the month of Ramadan. And almsgiving. To give a share of your personal wealth to help people in need and support the Muslim community. Last but not least, pilgrimage. To perform a pilgrimage to Mecca at least once in your lifetime. That is a duty of all Muslims. Now, if you look at these architectural beauties from Indonesia, right, you can very much see that there's a kind of a hodgepodge of different religions. You can see Hinduism in there, Buddhism in there, and Islam in these structures. So throughout the thousands and thousands of years that these religions have gone through these areas, Hinduism gone up and down. And when Hinduism went down, Buddhism went in. But they actually just kept the same monuments, and they would just put a Buddha in front of the monument that was originally a Hindu monument. So that's kind of interesting and cool. And again, you can see the Islamic influence, and quite interesting, right? Again, please go to Indonesia. I highly recommend it. Thailand is also quite fun. Probably easy to visit. Everyone speaks English. And Singapore, pretty small, but you could actually just cross the river into Malaysia, and that also is a nice place to visit. All right, let's go over chapter 4, the rise of the new states. Now, the 13th century power relations were altered. Hint. Okay, guys, this is where it gets really fun. I want you to stop the video right now, and I want you to Google who is related to Genghis Khan. And look no further, guys. If you are of any kind of Asian or Armenian or European descent, look in the mirror. Because if you please pause this video and watch that video on who's related to Genghis Khan. He actually conquered all of Asia, huge parts of Europe and the Middle East, and his sons, which were in the hundreds, and grandsons also continue to conquer. So look no further than yourself, okay? Look at the mirror, because you have a high chance of being, all of us actually are descendants from Genghis Khan, okay? And when Genghis Khan came, he brought his religions, and he brought a lot of different religions, particularly Islam, to the area. So again, he brought a lot of very interesting stuff to all of Southeast Asia. So fun. All right, the Thais and the Ayuthayas. Thais rising 13th, 14th century because of encouragement of Mongols. So basically, these Mongols, or Genghis Khan, people went all over Asia, and actually they did some brutal things, such as murder a lot of people and also rape all the women. That's why we are all related to Genghis Khan. But also they brought some positive things, such as equality. Great innovation and policy was during that time. Malacca becomes the center of the spread of Islam. I want you to right now to pause this video, and I want you to go to YouTube and click in 10 Genghis Khan facts. And it's pretty amazing that he did get around, and his kids and grandkids. There actually is a show, The Mongols, I think, that you can watch as well. So very intriguing. His genes have definitely affected all of us. Establishment of Malacca. Conversion of Malay into Islamic state resulted in the establishment of Malacca. Tolerance for many other religions. And when I say Malay, I mean Malaysia. And Malaysia is actually primarily Islamic. Why is that? That's right. Genghis Khan. He conquered everyone and then he forced them to do the religion. Okay. Now, something else about Genghis Khan that people don't know, that he had a lot of tolerance for many other religions. So if you go to these places like Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, there is a tolerance for many other religions, and that's something great that you just don't see. It wasn't a forced. Okay, of course there are episodes where that was not the case, such as the Rouhani in Burma right now, but historically it has been a tolerance. Now, merchants were always of all the different religions, and they would use the multiple ports, okay? And again, Malacca was one of the best ports in Southeast Asia. So you look at today at Malaysia, and let's look at the breakdown. You got 61% Islamic, you got 19% Buddhism, you got 9.2 Christianity, and you have 6.3 Hinduism. So when I was in Malaysia, it was so fun. I would just go into this like cave, and you go into the cave, and then you would see a Hindu deity, right? Quite wonderful. And then you go into another cave and you would see a Buddhist deity. But then throughout everywhere, you would see people wearing kind of like not exactly a hijab, but kind of like a hijab. And yeah, it's a very interesting place. It's very multi-religious and, in a sense, tolerant. I'd like you to pause again, and I'd like you to answer these group questions. What have you noticed about Southeast Asia so far? What is driving its culture and the spread of different cultures? What does geography have to do with Southeast Asian insular versus Southeast Asian mainland country interactions? What are the dominant religions? What were different religions tolerated? How were they tolerated? Who is Genghis Khan? What did he do? And the effects of China, the world today, and you. How is Genghis Khan affecting you? Again, these are wonderful questions. I want you to pause this video and I would like you to answer them. All right, thanks for, welcome back, okay? So you learned about the early kingdoms of Sumatra and Java, you've learned about the rise of new states, and you've learned about the religious influence and tenets of Islam, Buddhism, and Hinduism. If you have any questions, please email me any questions and have a wonderful